In 1940, as German tanks rolled through the streets of Paris, one man turned a house of God into a fortress of defiance. While the Gestapo hunted people in every corner of the city, he built a secret network right under their noses, using faith as a weapon and prayer as a shield. This is the story of Si Kaddour Benghabrit, the rector of the Great Mosque of Paris, a man who risked everything to outwit the Third Reich. He didn't use guns or bombs. His tools were far more subtle: a pen, a stamp, and a labyrinth of ancient tunnels hidden beneath a sacred prayer hall. As the shadow of occupation fell over the city of light, the Great Mosque of Paris became a strange and unlikely island of sovereignty. Its leader, Si Kaddour Benghabrit, was no ordinary cleric. He was a brilliant diplomat, a scholar, and a man of immense influence, with connections that reached the highest echelons of power. He moved with an air of sophistication, equally at home in Parisian salons as he was leading prayers. But beneath this polished exterior was a core of iron-willed courage. When the persecution began, Benghabrit made a choice. He would not stand by. His mosque would become a sanctuary. The iron gates of the mosque began to open for those in desperate need. At first, it was escaped French soldiers of North African descent, men who had been captured and were now fugitives in their own country. Benghabrit welcomed them, offering them shelter, food, and a place to hide from patrols. He disguised them as students of the Quran. Their uniforms were replaced with simple robes. The rhythmic chants of prayer echoed through the courtyards, providing a perfect cover for the life-or-death operations happening within the mosque's walls. Soon, downed Allied pilots, shot down over France, found their way to the mosque, guided by the whispers of the French resistance. They too were hidden among the faithful, waiting for a chance to escape. But Benghabrit's most audacious and ingenious plan was yet to come. As the Nazis began rounding up Jewish families for deportation to concentration camps, he knew he had to do more. He couldn't hide everyone forever. So he devised a strategy that was as brilliant as it was dangerous. He decided to fight the regime's monstrous bureaucracy with bureaucracy of his own. He would use the enemy's own obsession with paperwork against them. The mosque began issuing official-looking documents, certificates of Muslim faith, to Jewish men, women, and children. These papers declared them to be Muslims, providing them with a new identity that made them invisible to the authorities. Imagine the sheer audacity of this. In a city paralyzed by fear, Benghabrit was essentially forging new lives on paper. A piece of paper, stamped with the seal of the Great Mosque, became a shield. For hundreds of people, it was the difference between life and death. When a patrol stopped someone on the street and demanded their papers, this certificate was their lifeline. The occupiers, for all their brutality, were meticulous record keepers. They saw an official document from a recognized religious institution, and in many cases, simply moved on. Benghabrit was playing a high-stakes game of deception, turning his administrative office into the heart of a rescue mission. Each certificate he signed was an act of rebellion, a quiet declaration of war against an ideology of hate. One of the most famous people saved by this scheme was the celebrated singer Salim Halali. Halali was a star, a Jewish Algerian musician whose voice was known across North Africa and France, but his fame made him a target. When the Gestapo came for him, he fled to the one place he thought he might be safe, the Great Mosque. Benghabrit knew that for someone as well known as Halali, a simple certificate might not be enough. The Gestapo were suspicious and would likely investigate further. So he orchestrated an even more elaborate deception. He took Halali in, but he needed more than just a piece of paper. He needed irrefutable proof. Benghabrit's plan was something out of a spy thriller. He had his staff go to the Muslim cemetery of Babigny. There, they found an unmarked grave. He then ordered a tombstone to be carved with the name of Halali's own grandfather. The stone was weathered to look old and placed upon the grave. It was a complete fabrication, a piece of theater designed to fool the most ruthless investigators in the world. And it worked. When the Gestapo agents arrived at the mosque, demanding proof of Halali's heritage, Benghabrit calmly escorted them to the cemetery. He pointed to the freshly placed, yet ancient-looking, tombstone. There it was, in stone, the proof of Halali's Muslim ancestry. The agents were convinced. Salim Halali's life was saved, not just by a document, but by a lie literally set in stone. But Benghabrit's rescue operation extended even deeper, quite literally. The Great Mosque was not just a building. It was built over a network of catacombs and tunnels, remnants of an older Paris. These subterranean passages became the secret highway of the resistance. While prayers and religious services were held in the grand halls above, a hidden world existed in the darkness below. Families, including children, were sheltered in these damp, dark cellars, waiting for their chance to escape. The tunnels connected to the city's sewer system, which in turn led to the Seine River. Under the cover of night, Benghabrit and his trusted aides would guide groups of fugitives through this underground labyrinth. They would emerge near the riverbank, where they were secretly loaded onto barges and smuggled out of Paris, moving slowly down the river towards the south of France, hopefully to freedom. Of course, this level of activity did not go unnoticed. The German command grew deeply suspicious of the mosque. Why were there so many people coming and going at all hours? Rumors were swirling. The Gestapo conducted multiple raids, their black cars pulling up unannounced. Heavily armed soldiers would storm into the courtyards, their boots echoing on the sacred tiles. They would search the administrative offices, the kitchens, and even the prayer halls. They threatened Benghabrit directly, warning him of prison, or worse if he was found to be hiding anyone. But each time, the rector remained unshakable. He would greet them with diplomatic calm, a serene host in his own house. He would use his charm and his formidable presence to deflect their questions and control the situation. He would lead them on tours, all the while knowing that just a few feet beneath their boots, or behind a hidden door in a women's prayer area, dozens of people were holding their breath, praying their hiding place would not be found. He walked this tightrope for 4 long years, always one step ahead of disaster. When Paris was finally liberated in August 1944, the full scale of the operation at the Great Mosque began to come to light. While exact numbers are difficult to confirm, historians estimate that Si Kaddour Benghabrit and his network saved somewhere between 500 and 1,600 people. He had turned his mosque into a fortress for humanity, proving that its walls were not just for worship, but for protecting the innocent. His actions perfectly embodied a powerful verse from the Quran. Whoever saves one life, it is as if he has saved all of mankind. Benghabrit's legacy is a powerful reminder that in the darkest of times, courage and compassion can be found in the most unexpected of places. He was a hero who fought his war not with weapons, but with wisdom, faith, and an unwavering belief in the value of every single human life.